Chosen one, listen closely, because moments like this don't arrive by accident. Somewhere between the prayers you whispered and the doubts you tried to silence, something shifted in the unseen realm. You may not understand it yet, but a line has been crossed, a door has been unlocked, and a message has been sent straight into your life. A stranger, someone you didn't expect, someone you may not even fully trust yet, has released a large sum of money toward you. And before your mind rushes ahead with excitement or suspicion, you need to hear this clearly. The transfer is real, but so is the test attached to it. This is not just about money. It never was. Money is simply the language being used to get your attention, because nothing exposes the condition of the heart faster than sudden provision. When lack is gone, excuses fall apart. When pressure lifts, truth rises. That's why this moment matters more than you realize. The universe, heaven, destiny, call it what you will, is watching how you respond when relief shows up unannounced. You've spent years surviving, years calculating every step, measuring every risk, stretching every resource. You know what it feels like to check your balance and hold your breath. You know what it feels like to want to help others, but barely have enough for yourself. So when abundance appears, suddenly it can feel unreal, almost suspicious, like something must be wrong. But understand this: provision arriving suddenly does not mean it arrived without purpose. It means the preparation happened quietly. This stranger didn't just send money. They triggered a moment of exposure, because now everything inside you gets louder. Fear asks, what if it disappears? Ego whispers, you deserve this and more. Old wounds say, spend it quickly before it's taken away. Pride says, now you can prove something. And wisdom stands calmly in the background, waiting to see if you will listen. The test is not whether you receive the money. You already did. The test is how you receive it internally. Do you grip it tightly, afraid it will vanish? Do you broadcast it for validation? Do you rush to spend it to feel powerful? Or do you pause, breathe, and ask yourself why it came now, of all times? Chosen one, timing is never random. This didn't arrive when you were at your strongest. It arrived when you were tired, when you were questioning your direction, when you were wondering if integrity was even worth it anymore. And that's precisely why this test is sacred, because what you do next will reveal whether you are led by impulse or alignment. You see, some people fail this test by assuming the money is a reward. It's not yet. It's a mirror. It reflects your maturity. It reflects your discipline. It reflects whether you are still operating from survival mode or whether you've stepped into stewardship. Survival asks, how fast can I use this? Stewardship asks, how wisely can I multiply this? This stranger may never know the role they played in your story. They may disappear just as quietly as they appeared, but their obedience activated a checkpoint in your journey, a pause where heaven leans in and asks, can you be trusted with more than you've ever held before? Because let's be honest, you've asked for overflow. You've asked for breakthrough. You've asked for financial freedom. But freedom isn't proven when money is absent. It's proven when money is present and no longer controls your emotions. If this transfer changes your character, you fail the test. If it sharpens your character, you pass. Notice how your thoughts have already shifted. You're planning, you're imagining, you're feeling possibilities open up that were closed just hours ago. That's not wrong, that's human. But don't confuse imagination with direction. Sudden access requires slow decisions. That's the paradox few understand. There are traps hidden in blessing. One of them is urgency, the feeling that you must act now, buy now, show now, decide now. But true provision doesn't rush you, it steadies you. If you feel frantic, that's not abundance speaking. That's fear trying to dress itself as opportunity. Another trap is identity shift. You start seeing yourself differently and not always in a healthy way. You may feel superior to those still struggling or embarrassed that you once were. Don't let money rewrite your memory. The ground you came from is part of your authority. Forgetting it disconnects you from your purpose. Chosen one, the test also involves obedience. There may be a quiet instruction stirring inside you right now, something you know you should do with a portion of this money. Help someone, clear a debt, invest in something meaningful, rest. Yes, even rest can be an act of obedience, but the mind resists instruction when it conflicts with desire. That's where many fail. They negotiate instead of listening. You must understand this clearly. This transfer is not the destination. It's a gate, and gates open both ways. They can lead forward or pull you back, depending on how you walk through them. If you carry gratitude, humility, and wisdom, the gate leads to expansion. If you carry fear, pride, or recklessness, the same gate becomes a lesson you'll have to repeat. Think back to the times you had less. You were more prayerful then, more reflective, more careful. Don't lose that posture now. Abundance should deepen awareness, not erase it. The same discipline that kept you afloat in scarcity is what will keep you grounded in increase. This stranger's action also tests your discernment. Not every gift is meant to be consumed. Some are meant to be protected. Some are meant to be delayed. You don't owe anyone immediate proof of change. Silence is often wisdom's favorite companion. You may be tempted to believe this moment means all your struggles are over, that everything will now be easy. But ease is not the goal. Alignment is. And alignment sometimes requires restraint, even when you have permission to indulge. Chosen one, look at your emotional response. Are you peaceful or restless, calm or overstimulated? Peace is a sign you're aligned. Restlessness is a signal to slow down. The test is happening right now, not later. It's happening in your reactions, your private thoughts, the way you speak about this moment when no one else is listening. And here's the part few will tell you. Sometimes money comes as a test before responsibility increases. Bigger doors are ahead, but they won't open if this smaller door reveals instability. This is a rehearsal, a quiet evaluation, a moment where the unseen realm watches how you manage surprise provision. You don't need to announce anything. You don't need to rush gratitude posts or explanations. What you need is clarity, stillness, a grounded heart. Ask yourself, if this amount never increased, would I still be thankful? If no one ever acknowledged it, would I still act wisely? Your answers reveal more than the balance ever could. Remember, chosen one, wealth is not measured by how much arrives, but by how little it controls you. If you can remain centered now, you are being prepared for levels you once thought were unreachable. If you lose yourself now, the lesson will repeat until it no longer owns you. This moment is delicate, sacred, powerful, and unfinished. The test is ongoing. Every decision from this point forward adds weight to the outcome. And as you sit with this reality, feeling the shift, sensing that something much larger than money is unfolding, understand that this is only the beginning of a much deeper sequence that is still revealing itself, step by step, thought by thought, moment by moment. As your awareness sharpens and you start to notice how every small choice begins to echo louder than before, how every pause carries meaning, how every intention now seems amplified, as if the space around you is listening more closely than ever, waiting to see whether you will move from reaction into wisdom, from excitement into understanding, from receiving into becoming. Because what happens next is connected to layers you haven't fully seen yet, layers that are slowly aligning as this moment continues to unfold. And as this unfolding continues, you may start to realize that your senses feel sharper than usual. Conversations sound different. Opportunities feel heavier. Even silence carries weight. That's because when provision enters your life unexpectedly, it doesn't just change circumstances, it changes perception. You're no longer looking at the world from the same position you were standing in yesterday, and that shift can be disorienting if you're not grounded. Chosen one, this is where many people sabotage what was meant to elevate them. They mistake clarity for certainty. Just because you can see further doesn't mean you should run faster. Vision expands first, movement follows later. If you reverse that order, you'll act on incomplete understanding. And incomplete understanding is dangerous when resources are suddenly available. Notice how people around you may star, behaving differently even if they don't know the details. Energy shifts are felt before facts are spoken. Some will feel drawn closer to you. Others may become distant or subtly competitive. This isn't about jealousy alone. It's about resonance. When your internal frequency changes, not everyone can remain comfortable in your presence. This is another part of the test, how you treat people when you no longer need anything from them. Will you remain kind when you have options? Will you remain patient when you're no longer desperate? Will you remain generous without becoming careless? These questions don't arrive as thoughts, they arrive as moments, a request, a conversation, an invitation. Each one quietly asking who you are becoming. There's also a deeper layer to this test that few recognize. It's about trust. Not just trusting the source of the money, but trusting yourself. You spent so long second-guessing your decisions because mistakes were expensive when you had little margin for error. Now the margin has widened, even slightly, and that can awaken old insecurities. You may feel pressure to make the perfect choice so you don't waste this opportunity. But perfection is not required. Presence is. You are not being asked to predict the future. You are being asked to stay conscious in the present. Money amplifies whatever is already within you. If anxiety lives there, it will grow louder. If discipline lives there, it will grow stronger. This moment is revealing, not creating. There may be a strong urge to prove something now, to show the world or certain people that you've arrived, that you were right to believe that the struggle wasn't in vain. But proving is rooted in the past. Purpose is rooted in the present. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. This provision didn't come to validate you, it came to position you. Another subtle challenge will be comparison. You may start measuring this amount against what others have, against what you still don't have, against what you think should have arrived by now. Comparison turns gifts into burdens. Gratitude turns them into gateways. What you honor expands, what you resent constricts. Chosen one, pay attention to your language during this time, not what you say publicly, but what you say internally. Are you telling yourself this was luck, coincidence, or a fluke? Or are you allowing yourself to believe that alignment is possible, that support can come from unexpected directions, that your life is not as blocked as it once seemed? The story you attach to this moment will influence how long its impact lasts. There is also restraint being asked of you, not because pleasure is wrong, but because mastery requires pacing. You don't pour all the fuel into the engine at once. You learn how it burns. You listen to the sound. You adjust. This is training, not punishment. You may feel an impulse to share this moment with someone close, someone you trust. Choose wisely. Not everyone needs access to your process. Some PO wholly know how to consume information, not protect it. Privacy is not secrecy, it's stewardship. As time passes, you'll notice that the excitement settles into something quieter, and that's when the real test deepens. When the initial rush fades, what remains? Do you feel grounded or empty, focused or scattered? The answer tells you whether you're integrating the experience or chasing the feeling. This money did not come to replace your intuition. It came to work alongside it. Don't override your inner signals just because you feel temporarily secure. Security can dull awareness if you let it. Stay alert, stay humble, stay curious. There is also a question of alignment with your values. Now that you have more choice, will you choose convenience over integrity? Will you cut corners because you can afford to? Or will you raise your standards because you understand the cost of compromise? Every level of increase demands a matching level of character. Chosen one, understand this. Tests are not always difficult in the way we expect. Sometimes the hardest test is ease. Struggle trains endurance. Ease trains responsibility. Many can endure pressure. Few can handle relief without losing direction. You may notice opportunities appearing that were invisible before. Invitations, ideas, possibilities that require investment of time, energy, or money. Not all of them are meant for you. Discernment becomes critical. Now, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Access does not equal assignment. There's a rhythm to wise movement. Observe, reflect, decide, act, rest, repeat. If you skip reflection, you repeat lessons. If you skip rest, you burn clarity. Let your pace honor the significance of this moment. This stranger's action has also activated something karmic, something cyclical. Seeds you planted long ago, perhaps without recognition, are responding. Generosity you showed when you had little. Integrity you maintained when no one was watching. Patience you practiced when quitting felt easier. Nothing was wasted. This transfer is not isolated, it's connected. And yet, this is not the harvest in full. It's confirmation that harvest is possible. A signal, not the destination. If you treat the signal like the destination, growth stops here. If you treat it like confirmation, growth accelerates. Be mindful of impulsive promises to yourself or to others. Sudden provision can make you feel capable of everything at once. But expansion happens in layers. Overcommitting now can create unnecessary pressure later. Choose depth over speed. Chosen one, there may be moments of doubt creeping in, asking if this was a mistake, if you should hold back, if trusting this moment is naive. Doubt often shows up when old identities are dissolving. It's a sign of transition, not danger. Let it inform caution, not paralysis. Your relationship with money is being rewritten right now, not through affirmations or theories, but through lived experience. How you think, feel, and act in this window will set a new baseline. That's why awareness is critical. You are learning who you are when provision is present. Notice how your breathing changes when you think about the future now. Is there more space? Less tension? That matters. The body often understands shifts before the mind can explain them. This moment also asks you to redefine success. Is it consumption, accumulation, or contribution? Is it comfort, freedom, or impact? Your answer doesn't need to be final, but it needs to be honest. Money follows clarity. Chosen one, you are not being tested to see if you're worthy. You already are. You are being tested to see if you are ready. Ready is not about perfection. It's about awareness, restraint, and alignment. As this experience continues to settle in, to your life, you may sense that something else is preparing to move. This transfer is not standing alone. It's part of a sequence. One door opens to reveal another. One decision sets the tone for the next opportunity. Stay present. Stay grounded, stay conscious. The story is still unfolding, the test still active, the momentum's still building, and as each hour passes, the way you hold yourself, the way you think, the way you choose, continues to shape what comes next. Because this moment is not ending here, it is stretching forward, linking itself to future conversations, future chances, future responsibilities, slowly revealing that what arrived as money is actually instruction in disguise, and that instruction is still speaking, still guiding, still unfolding as you move deeper into what this moment is truly preparing you for. And as you continue to move through this space, something subtle but unmistakable begins to happen inside you. The noise that once dominated your thoughts starts to quiet, not because problems have vanished, but because perspective has shifted. When survival loosens its grip, awareness steps forward. You begin noticing patterns you once ignored, habits you excused, choices you delayed. This moment doesn't just give you options, it asks you to face yourself without the pressure of desperation clouding your vision. Chosen one, there is a reason this test involves a stranger. Familiar sources come with familiar expectations. They reinforce old roles. But a stranger breaks the pattern. They remove obligation, history, emotional debt. What arrives without a past allows you to respond without being dragged backward. This was intentional because the way you handle unearned favor reveals more than the way you handle earned reward. You may start reflecting on moments where you almost compromised your values because you felt unseen or unsupported. Moments where bitterness tried to take root. This provision is not erasing those moments, it's illuminating them, showing you that you were never abandoned, only delayed for alignment. Timing protects more than it frustrates. There is also a confrontation happening beneath the surface, a confrontation with the version of you that believed struggle was your identity, that believed ease was suspicious, that believed rest had to be earned through exhaustion. Money arriving unexpectedly challenges those beliefs. And belief systems don't collapse quietly. They resist, they negotiate, they test boundaries. You might feel an odd guilt creeping in, a sense that you don't deserve this yet, that others need it more. Guilt is often a sign that your self-concept hasn't caught up with your growth. Compassion is healthy. Self-rejection is not. You can care without diminishing yourself. You can receive without apologizing for existing. Pay attention to how you plan now. Is it rooted in fear of loss or confidence in continuity? Planning from fear creates tight timelines and rigid outcomes. Planning from confidence creates flexibility and resilience. Both can look similar on the surface, but they feel very different internally. Chosen one, the test also examines patience. Not patience in waiting, but patience in holding. Holding abundance without immediately converting it into action. Letting it sit, letting it breathe, letting yourself acclimate just as your eyes need time to adjust to sudden light. Your mind needs time to adjust to sudden relief. You may notice a new sense of responsibility forming, a quiet understanding that what you do next matters more than before, that your choices now ripple wider. This awareness can feel heavy if you carry it alone, but it becomes empowering when you realize responsibility is not pressure, it's trust. There is something else awakening T. Discernment around motives, yours and others. You'll start sensing when opportunities are aligned versus when they are simply attractive. You'll feel the difference between expansion and distraction. This clarity is part of the gift, but only if you honor it. Ignoring intuition now would cost more than it ever did before. Chosen one, understand that tests don't always announce themselves. They disguise themselves as normal days, ordinary decisions, small indulgences, quiet conversations. The question is not whether you'll face temptation, but whether you'll recognize it when it wears the mask of permission. You might feel drawn to revisit old ideas, projects you once abandoned because resources were limited. This is natural. But revisit doesn't mean resurrect blindly. Ask yourself who you are now compared to who you were then. Some dreams were right, but the timing was wrong. Some were right for survival, not for stewardship. Let maturity refine vision. Another layer of the test is emotional regulation. Sudden changes can trigger swings between excitement and anxiety. Watch those swings. Anchor yourself. Breath, routine, stillness become even more important now. Stability is not something money provides, it's something you practice. There may be moments where you miss the clarity that struggle provided. Struggle simplifies priorities. Ease complicates them. Don't confuse complexity with confusion. Complexity simply means more responsibility, and responsibility is a sign of trust. Chosen one, you are learning how to hold space. Space for possibility. Space for uncertainty. Space for growth without rushing to define it. This capacity will serve you far beyond this moment. It's a skill few develop consciously. Be mindful of internal narratives that say, this is it, or this is all I'll get. Those narratives shrink flow. This moment is significant, but it's not final. Thinking in endpoints closes doors that are meant to remain open. You may also notice a shift in how you value time. When money was scarce, time felt expensive. Now, time feels precious in a different way. You may feel less tolerant of chaos, noise, and unnecessary drama. This is not arrogance, it's refinement. Protecting your energy becomes non-negotiable. Chosen one, the test continues in how you handle boredom. Yes, boredom. When urgency fades, boredom can surface, and boredom often tempts people to create unnecessary problems just to feel alive again. Don't do that. Peace doesn't need chaos to validate it. This provision also challenges your relationship with trust. Trust in flow, trust in continuity, trust that you don't have to grip life so tightly anymore. Loosening control doesn't mean losing discipline. It means allowing support to coexist with effort. There may be a moment where you're tempted to make a dramatic move, a big announcement, a bold leap. Drama feels like progress when inner alignment is still stabilizing. True progress often feels quiet, almost anticlimactic. Don't underestimate quiet momentum. You might feel called to learn, to understand money differently, to educate yourself rather than outsource decisions blindly. This curiosity is a sign of readiness. Stewardship grows through understanding, not avoidance. Chosen one, observe how gratitude shows up now. Is it fleeting or sustained? Gratitude that fades quickly turns gifts into entitlement. Gratitude that deepens over time turns gifts into responsibility. Choose the latter. There is also forgiveness surfacing, forgiveness toward people who couldn't help you before, toward systems that failed you, toward yourself for past mistakes. Abundance has a way of softening edges if you let it. This softening is not actness, it's healing. As days pass, the money becomes less novel, less shocking, and that's when you see the real shift. You realize the transfer didn't change who you are, it revealed who you've been becoming all along. More thoughtful, more aware, more intentional. Chosen one, you are being initiated into a different way of living, not louder, not flashier, but deeper, more deliberate, where choices are made from clarity instead of urgency, where worth is not negotiated through suffering, and still the test remains active. In every pause before a purchase, in every conversation where you choose listening over speaking, in every moment where you resist the urge to prove, to rush, to escape old feelings through new comforts. This is not about being perfect, it's about being present. Present enough to notice when ego tries to hijack direction. Present enough to notice when fear disguises itself as logic. Present enough to let wisdom lead without needing applause. Chosen one, the unfolding continues. The sequence is not finished. What came through a stranger is preparing you for interactions that will not be accidental, for responsibilities that will require steadiness, for opportunities that will demand the version of you that is being shaped right now. So stay with the moment. Stay with the awareness. Let each decision be informed, not impulsive. Let each step be intentional, not reactive. Because this experience is still teaching, still testing, still aligning, and as you move forward, the way you hold this season will quietly determine how wide the next door opens, how stable the next platform becomes, how prepared you are for what approaches next. As the rhythm continues, the momentum builds, and the path ahead slowly reveals itself, one conscious choice at a time, without rushing to an ending, without forcing resolution, allowing the process to keep unfolding exactly as it is meant to. Chosen one, let this moment settle into you without resistance. What arrived was never meant to overwhelm you or define you, but to reveal how far you've come and how much further you're capable of going. You are not standing at the end of a story, you are standing at a threshold, and thresholds require awareness, not haste. The money was the signal, but the transformation is the message. It asked you to slow down, to listen inwardly, to choose with intention rather than impulse, and to recognize that true increase begins in consciousness before it ever appears in form. You are no longer moving from desperation, you are moving from discernment. And that shift changes everything. The test was never about what you would buy, prove, or show. It was about who you would become when pressure eased and choice expanded. In this moment, you prove something quietly but powerfully, that you can receive without losing yourself, that you can hold abundance without letting it harden you, and that wisdom now walks beside you where fear once led. Carry this understanding forward. Let gratitude remain active. Let humility stay rooted, and let patience guide your steps. What came through a stranger has aligned you with something far more personal. Trust in yourself, trust in timing, and trust in the unfolding path ahead. The door didn't just open to money, it opened to a higher level of responsibility, clarity, and purpose. Stand here for a moment longer, breathe, observe, and move forward knowing that this was not luck, not coincidence, and not the peak, but a confirmation that you are ready for what comes next.